How to avoid burnout in business. Now, you've probably looked at solutions such as planning and time management, diet, exercise, all good things, but this could also be the band-aid to the deeper problem, the deeper challenge that may lay ahead. So what we're going to look at now in this video is a spiritual perspective on burnout. We're not only going to go through the definition of burnout and what to look out for, all those different things. We're going to go through 3 deeper truths as to what burnout could actually mean. I'm going to give you 2 key solutions so that you can avoid and prevent burnout in the future. Let's dive in. Hello to you, my soul family, and welcome to another episode of the Awaken Your Business podcast. Yes, my name is Tyson Sharp, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to click on the bell so you don't miss out whenever I release new content. And if you want to join the community of heart-centered business owners who are ready to collaborate with you, feel free to search the Serving Circle on Facebook. But on to the episode now. What is burnout? Burnout is a state of mental, physical, or emotional exhaustion, right? Often caused by prolonged stress. So some signs of if you have burnout is often physical, like aches and pains. It can come down to illness, some prolonged illness. It can be lack of enjoyment in whatever you're doing, decrease in performance, increase in fatigue, right? Feeling tired, insomnia, all these different things. And if you look at some of the traditional texts, some of the traditional research here, it's generally, what they say is it's generally due to your work environment or other people, or things like lack of clarity of your role or lack of control, right? Excessive overworking, excessive workload, all these different things. But what we're going to look at here is a deeper perspective, a more spiritual perspective on if you're in that situation where you're facing this burnout, where you have this over exhaustion in your business, in your work, whatever it is you're doing. You can almost imagine, that classic person who's working just, 10-hour days, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, and just never getting anything done, just being busy all of the time, never feeling fulfilled, never following an internal calling, never following an internal guidance, but just on this rat race of just completing work time and time and time again. And what I want to suggest here is that may be a sign of something deeper. That may be a sign of your heart, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, pulling you to something else. If you're doing something that offers a lot of resistance, and if you're doing something that doesn't fulfill you internally, that can be a sign. Don't you notice that that's a sign of something deeper, of something more? I want you to imagine sort of if you're hiking and you have 2 trails. Now, if your heart guides you to a trail, but you go on the other trail, you go on this path. It doesn't matter how pretty you make that path or how much you clean it out, how much you remove some of the rocks, how much you decorate it, try and make it your own, try and manage, the weaves throughout the path. It doesn't matter what you do with the path or what you do to try to make it better. It's still the wrong path. And this can often be the case with burnout. This can often be the case with whatever you're doing. If you're in your business and you're doing things that aren't aligned, or if you're in a job or if you're in a certain situation that offers just so much exhaustion, so much resistance, and you can sense this. You can see from that point of view, it doesn't matter how much time management you do or how much control you take back or how many boundaries you set with other people. It's still the wrong path. Your heart's guiding you to something else. And so the universe, God, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, needs to give you signs and signals that are larger and larger and larger until you get the lesson, until you start noticing that you're off track. How long do you have to go down this path until you realize, oh, I'm actually meant for something more. I'm actually being called for something new, for something different. So let's go into the 3 deeper truths of what burnout could actually be. Number 1 is this internal guidance. Yes, we just talked about it a little bit. We hinted towards it. But this could actually be your heart guiding you on a path. So if you're someone who feels intuitively like you're here to give a gift, or you're here to make a certain difference in the world, right? You're here to create something new or something expansive, then you know your heart will always guide you to that. It's being called to you, and your heart will guide you on those steps. Now, here's the thing. The universe, your heart, your higher self will give you some steps. It won't give you all of the steps. It'll give you one expansive, exciting, scary step at a time. Now, if you're facing burnout, if you're exhausted in what you're doing, clearly you can see that it might be a sign that there's something new, that there's something else. So let me ask you, if everything you wanted to do could be equally as successful, what would you do? What feels scary right now? What feels expansive? What feels like it would light up your soul if you were on that path? Would it be to do your business in a very different way, or connect it to a certain cause or charity or event? Would it be to call upon partners or collaborative partners, whatever it may be, that feel just so aligned with your mission? What does that feel like for you? What's in your expansion? What do you feel like intuitively you're meant to be doing? I think this is so expansive for you to know that internally there's a calling, and internally there's an internal guidance system that's always guiding you to where you're meant to be, so that you can create the impact that you're here to create. So ask yourself that question from the internal guidance. Ask yourself, what is it that I'm intuitively feel I'm meant to be doing? If everything was equally as successful, what would it be? What would that next step be? And the more you start to feel away from what's exhausting you and what's causing this burnout and this exhaustion, you can start to say, okay, where would my heart guide me, and what would that look like? If you're looking to dive into this topic, I actually did a full video on how to follow your heart's calling, how to jump on your path of purpose without fail, so that you can take that heart's leap from a place of certainty, a place of clarity, and a place of confidence. So if you want, I'll put the links below. You can check it out after this video. And now on to deeper truth number 2, and that is circumstance breakdown. It's what I call circumstance breakdown. If you're facing burnout, if you're exhausted, if you're in a place of resistance all of the time, what I've found from coaching hundreds of people is that it's often the universe breaking down your circumstances to teach you some deeper truths, to teach you some deeper lessons. And what I found many people try to do as their life's falling apart, it might be in terms of finances, it might be in terms of their relationships, it might be in terms of their business, and they consistently try to stop it falling apart, right? They even use the expression internally, I'm just trying to keep things together, like hold things together. And it's almost like they're trying to build a sandcastle or keep the sandcastle alive when its foundations are faulty, when its foundations are weak and its foundations are just completely off the rails. What happens is they're just trying to keep it, it's a futile attempt of just trying to keep the sandcastle together, right? But if intuitively you feel your circumstances are breaking down so that you can learn some deeper truths, some deeper lessons, try to just separate yourself from the outcome and allow it to fall. If your emotions are coming up and you're trying to hold it together, allow it to break down, allow it to fall apart. If things with relationships or your business or whatever is going crazy, just for a moment, let it pan out the way it's meant to pan out. It doesn't mean you're not meant to intervene and do what your heart's calling is and stick to what is in alignment. But if there's things that are no longer serving you, I can tell you, as long as you're in your heart, as long as you're following your calling, the things that are falling apart are doing so for a reason. Because what's actually falling apart is your expectation. What's actually falling apart is not these circumstances that, means your livelihood, means your safety, means your worthiness. What's falling apart generally is your expectations of what life should be like. And what life should or shouldn't be is not up to you. That's up to your ego. Your ego thinks it knows what's best. But when things fall apart and you allow them to fall apart, what also falls apart is your small story. Your small story of who I am is what I do, who I am is what I have, who I am is the opinions of other people. And when you allow that story to fall apart, you actually build a platform that's more stable, that's more from a place of wholeness, more from a place of love, and you'll get more guidance on what to do next. On to the key truth number 3, and that is inner healing. Inner healing. If you've watched my videos at all, you knew this was coming, because every single piece of frustration or fear or pain, I've recognized is generally coming up because it's ready to be seen and it's actually ready to be healed. So if you're in burnout, if you're feeling this frustration with this external circumstance, or these things aren't panning out the way your mind thinks they should, what often comes up is this inner 5-year-old, this inner pattern that's ready to be healed. And I know this can be challenging because we're taught to avoid, to resist, and to react to uncomfortable emotion. But what I found from meditating 2 hours a day for about 1.5 years now is that all those emotions are actually coming up because they're ready to be seen, they're ready to be healed. So one thing you can start to ask yourself is, what uncomfortable emotions coming up for me during this burnout, during this exhaustion, during this resistance of life? What's the uncomfortable emotion that's coming up? Is it frustration, anger, fear, doubt, worry, concern? And start to actually allow it to be there. Actually welcome it come up and allow it to be seen, because all sides of you exist within you. And if all sides exist within you, so are the sides that are scared. And the more you resist, the more you react and avoid these different sides of you, the sides of you that are scared, the more they will grow unconsciously. But the more you welcome it, the more this inner healing takes place. The more you see these different sides of you, the more you share your light, and you start to heal the sides of you that need to be seen. And so welcome all of that and start to do the inner healing necessary. And what you'll find is burnout and this exhaustion and this relentless tiredness of just facing life and trying to resist will start to fade away, because you would have started to heal the inner side of you that says it shouldn't be that way. So welcome in the emotions, allow them to be there, and start to heal the sides of you that are ready to be seen. One special note I'll leave here as well for this topic is to ask yourself this question of, why are you working so hard? If you're in burnout and you're just hard work hustling, why is that the case? Why do you think that hard work is there to just to go and never stop? What happens if you do stop? What side of you will you need to face? And you can start to ask yourself, okay, if I have this hard work hustle mentality and I'm just keeping going, then what side of me am I avoiding? Am I trying to achieve this because I think I'm better off, or I think I'll be more safe, or I think I'll be more worthy when I achieve? Why is that hard work hustle pattern there? And often in that lies the side of you that's ready to be seen, whether it's the side of you that can fail, the side of you that can make mistakes, the side of you that can be broke, or whatever it may be. And so sit with that, ask yourself that deeper question of, why am I hard work hustle? Why are these patterns running the show? What happens if I stop? What happens if I don't do those patterns? And then what side of me will show up when that happens? But on to the next part of this episode, and that is the 2 key solutions. The 2 key solutions that allow this deeper truth, this deeper spiritual perspective to start to make sense, where you can actually start to take some action necessary that's going to heal this. And I'm sure you've seen what this pattern has been. I'm sure you can see where we're going, and that is solution number 1, to surrender. It's to completely surrender. When we're in a place of burnout and exhaustion and feeling like I'm trying to make this happen and it's not happening, it's surrendering not only to your internal world, but also your external world. It's exactly what we alluded to before. Surrendering into the emotions, whatever's coming up. Allow it, welcome it, and be in the space of feeling it in your body. And here's a tip. If you are to feel it in your body and welcome in this exhaustion or fear or frustration or anger, notice how it feels in your body, where you feel it. You feel it in your head, your shoulders, your chest, your stomach. Notice what it's like. I'll give you space to breathe right now and notice where you feel it in your body, which physical location. And also ask yourself, what does it feel like in detail? Does it feel, is it pulsating? Is it moving? Do you feel tension? Do you feel tight? Do you feel heaviness? Do you feel emptiness? Right? Is it moving around? What's it doing? and allow it to do that. Allow it to take its course. Just surrender, deepen your level of allowing, deepen your level of welcoming this emotion, allow it to be there. And what you'll find with time isn't a factor here, but with time, in divine timing, you'll find it starts to dissipate. And when you welcome in that and you can surrender to your internal world, you can also surrender to your external world. When you surrender to your external world and you just welcome what is, you actually start to come up with resourceful solutions. This is the pattern that I find many people in. They think they know what life needs to be like. They think they know what needs to pan out for their highest good. Sometimes they don't. But when they think they know, they put this illusion of control on themselves where they're just trying to make it all happen. When you surrender to what is, and you surrender to what is in here, you actually allow more of your heart to flow through, more of divine guidance, divine timing, so that you can find creative and resourceful solutions. So just think of the deeper level of peace you will have when you start from a place of welcoming, you start from a place of surrendering, you start from a place of accepting what is. Notice that peace, notice that freedom, and then also notice you have a resourceful emotion coming up in the form of love, in the form of creativity, in the form of passion. That's really a place to start from, is instead of resisting what is to just sit into this silent place of stillness and accepting and allowing. And what you'll find is not only that peace will allow the circumstances to work out for themselves, you'll actually be able to follow more of a higher guidance and more awareness from your heart. Which leads us to solution 2, of course, and that is follow your heart's calling. Yes, take that leap. When you get that insight, when you get that actual piece of guidance that says this is the path to be on, this feels expansive, this feels exciting. Like the questions I asked you earlier. What is that? What does that look like? What is that next expansive step of yours? What is that next expansive step that says, what if I just did this? This feels exciting. This feels like to take this leap, to take this step, I have to let go of some of the smaller stories of who I thought I was. What is that? What I know, what I've found in my work is that if you don't take that leap, if you don't take that step towards your heart's calling, towards this mission, towards this purpose that you're here to create, it's very, very hard for the universe, for God, for your higher self to give you the next step. You have to take the first step. You have to take the step that your heart's like a GPS. It'll just give you that one next direction. And if you don't take the first direction, it won't give you the second one. So finding out what is that next step? What is that highest calling? What is that next expansive step that's going to allow me to feel like I'm going on my path. I'm on my Dharma. This is where I'm moving forward to. And what you'll find is when you take that leap, when you take that step, you'll feel a new level of freedom. It'll be very, very scary to your mind because your mind can't see all of the steps, and your mind doesn't. And your mind says, "I need to stay in this small story to be safe, to be enough, to be loved." To go outside that comfort zone and take a leap towards your heart's calling is very scary to the mind, but it's very safe to the heart. You will feel an inner freedom. You'll feel an inner peace. You'll feel an inner guidance. And that is what drives you. And that is what's going to direct you away from burnout and away from this exhaustion, away from this resistance of life, and towards a place of expansion, towards a place of more fulfillment. But now it's time for you to share your truth. Which of the 3 deeper truths do you resonate with? And which of the 2 solutions are you willing to take? Are you actually willing to take? Are you willing to surrender? And are you willing to take that heart's calling? Let me know below. I look forward to reading them. I look forward to responding and communicating with you. I'll see you guys in the serving circle. Have an awesome rest of your week. Take care, guys.